title of this webinar, again, is Improving Your Body's Defensive Abilities. And if this has a sort of military ring to it, if you think it does, you're probably right. I have an extensive military background. I actually joined the Army when I was about 10 years of age. Wow. What were my parents thinking? I don't know. I didn't enjoy a single day there, not a minute, not an hour. I don't know what. I personally believe that kids should be free to explore their creativity and explore their tendencies. And the Army, of course, regiments you and takes you along a path that has already preordained. But some of the good things that I learned there while I was there, I developed an appreciation for the importance of endurance, the importance of courage, and of course, strength. Not just strength of body, but strength of spirit, strength of mind, and of course, strength of the body. And which is really the philosophy behind everything that we do. And there you have in front of you is a man, slightly to the left. But that displays the three aspects of who we are. Winston Churchill said that men are spirits and not animals. And if anybody knew how to invigorate people's spirits and help them to develop that will to fight and will to resist, as he did the British people, that was Winston Churchill. And so that's really, like I said, the philosophy behind everything that we do. And as I think about this, I think about another great man in history called General George S. Patton, Jr. And his whole philosophy too was similar. His whole idea was the soldier is the ultimate weapon, and he focused most of his efforts on training, on equipping, on preparing his men to fight, not just physically and skillfully, but also mentally and spiritually. That was his whole life's work, and he studied military. He studied wars probably more than anybody else, and the results were telling. His Third Army in World War II went faster, further. It killed and captured more enemy soldiers than any other army in military history. Now, that says a lot, especially when you think about the great generals of the past. I mean, George S. Patton himself, he has the distinction of never being beaten ever in warfare. Not even Napoleon enjoys that privilege. And, of course, George Patton, too, was very, very interested in the latest military warfare, the latest tactics, the latest equipment, and he used them to good effect. But again, his focus was always on the soldier's ability to fight. And in like terms, too, we focus on the human body. We know for sure that we are not using enough of our abilities as human beings, and that's why we break down, that's why we fall sick, that's why we die prematurely. And so really when we started talking about doing these webinars, our idea was just to talk about the human body and go over a few systems. Now, we've come to realize that there's a lot more that we need to do, and if you've noticed, we've been going steadily through the systems, starting with 3 master systems. Next time I do a webinar, I'm going to do something on the gastrointestinal system, because that is very, very important, and we'll probably go through the whole 12 systems so you can have an idea of how these things work. But it's not only that. We also need to understand some of the new technologies that are out there in terms of medicine, in terms of nutrition. There are some amazing discoveries that are out there, and there is not one single company that has it all, and therefore it behooves us. It is really to our benefit if we remain open-minded to see and explore what other things are out there, not for the business purposes, but really for your own health. And we all have our favorites. I have mine too, but it doesn't mean that we cannot learn from other people. And of course, we're dealing tonight with the threats to our health. And when it comes to defense, our primary focus has to be on the 3 master systems: the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the immune system. Well, if you can get that right, you really have gone a long way in helping the rest of your body function. And of course, you have to protect your mind and your emotions, and then the rest of your body cells. But if you can focus on the central governing system, as I put it, you have gone a long way. All right, let's go on with this. Why study defense? I mean, is it really important? Here's a quote I have. To be a good horseman, you must learn not only how to ride well, but also how to fall. It's not enough to be good at something. You must also be ready to prepare for adversity, in other words. And defense, protection, your body is also equipped to do those things in addition to repairing itself, building itself, and having metabolic processes, the day-to-day functions of the cell. And I think back into the Jewish history when Jerusalem was destroyed, and I think it was Nehemiah who was sent back, who went back there, and their main focus was to, first of all, repair the wall, because as long as you do not have a structure of protection, you are wide open to attack. And so that was what their main focus was, to first of all repair the wall, and then the temple, and then provide a place for the people to live. So defense is indispensable in our search for health and wellness. Here's a good quote I have from Dr. Steve Nugent. Unfortunately, we do not live in the Garden of Eden. We live in the 21st century with more pollution than ever in the history of humankind, and less available nutrition from food than ever before in the history of the world. Less available nutrition. Now you might think, oh yeah, with the grocery stores are stocked full with nutrition, with food. Well, they're stocked full with food, but not necessarily really nutrition. And on average, researchers have put it this way, that on average, 50% of the nutrition that we used to have in the food is no longer there. Now, what does that mean? It means that the body's ability to defend itself is severely compromised because the body uses nutrition to build the walls of defense. And so it behooves us to look into ways to supplement and ways to provide our bodies with those things that we are obviously lacking from the grocery stores. And here's our Tiger Woods picture. We live in the 21st century, like Dr. Nugent said, and we are under attack. We are literally under siege day in, day out, from the pollution in the air, the water, the food that we eat, radiation, electromagnetic radiation, everything. It's all working against our bodies, and it's going right down even to our DNAs, affecting the way our cells reproduce, and in some cases actually affecting, causing mutations, which of course could lead to cancer. You just cannot be passive about this. And of course, we say that if your body is under siege, it means that your 60 trillion plus cells are also under siege, and therefore your cells are always need to be protected too. And that is where it has to begin. You have to begin to understand what your cells need to be protected, and also what's the toxins out there and what they can do to your cells. And we have 5 categories of toxins: the biological, the chemical, the heavy metals, radiation, of course. We mentioned electromagnetic radiation, and of course rogue cells, when that is the cells that have already gone out of hand. I've written cancer there, but also autoimmune cells that turn on themselves and destroy certain parts of certain organs. Like for instance, in diabetes, immune cells turn on the pancreatic cells and destroy them, therefore seriously undermining their ability to produce insulin, which of course results in diabetes. Now, number 1 and number 5 are taken care of hopefully by your immune system. However, your immune system, and we have a webinar on the immune system, but your immune system has no defense against 2, 3, and 4. Therefore, it is of first importance, too, that you begin to understand how and what you need to do where these are concerned. And we have a website called bodyburden.org. We're going to show it in the latest slide, where they show the different things that are affecting our bodies and these threats and what you can do. By the way, we also have on our website, buildingstrengthwebinars.com, there's a free download where you can download, what is it again, Sherry? The 12 food additives you need to avoid. The 12 food additives. Actually, Dr. Bacola sent this to I'm on his mailing list, and I thought this was very, very interesting for people to know. I mean, these food additives are commonplace. but she explains how dangerous they can be. And so as much as possible you can avoid them, good for you. If not, well, it just means you have to pay more attention to the nutritional supplements that you're giving yourself and maybe increase it. Okay? Some more quotes from Dr. Nugent. The body is the true miracle. The body is designed to repair, restore, protect, and defend itself. If it gets the tools, and that's the key, if it gets the tools that it was intended to have. The problem is that we no longer live in the world for which our bodies were designed, and we must now compensate for the changes. And that's his book, How to Survive in a Toxic Planet. I encourage you to get it, especially if you're in an environment where it's affected by toxins. It is not only the environment, the outside physical environments where we walk in and live and work and talk and behave in, but in fact, researchers are finding out that the danger really is more in the homes where we live. And the reason for that is because we live in confined locations. What we do usually stays in the house. And of course, we've gotten all kinds of great stuff, insecticides, we've got the cleaning agents, we've got this and that, which help to beautify our homes. But again, researchers are finding out that these agents that we're using can actually be harmful to us because they stay within the home and they can accumulate. Another thing they found out is that even dead skin, the dust that from the skin that we shed on a day-to-day basis, the researchers are approximating like over 80% of the dust you have in your home is actually what you have shed from your skin. So, so you're part of the problem too. So it's just for you to be aware of those things and again, protect these systems. Mentioned just a couple of things that affect each of the systems the most. Mercury and lead affect the nervous system. PCBs, big stuff, dioxins, most of the plastics that you have. And by the way, if you're putting plastic containers in your microwave, you need to stop it. Get a ceramic or glass or something else that does not leach out dioxins, because most plastics do. And those dioxins leach into your food, and they, again, can affect your system adversely. You want to stay away from them. Excuse me, you want to stop putting it in the microwave. And have a list of it. I'm sorry?
So that's a good reminder.
Yes, yes. Another reminder is that if you take stuff to the dry cleaners, again, they use a lot of chemicals on those clothes. Usually when they give you your clothes back, they're in these ceramic or plastic containers. A good idea is that you do not want to put that in your closet. You want to take take out the plastic containers and dispose of them. Because if you put them in your closet and then when you want to wear your clothes, you rip off the plastic containers, well, that releases a lot of dioxins in your closets. And again, this is a confined location, your home is. And so those things accumulate. You want to dispose of those before you bring them into the home. All right, basically, let's talk about how the body protects itself. And here we have a picture of a castle or fortress, and there's the moat around it. Here's another nice picture. And if you look closely, you'll see Rapunzel's hair, the blonde hair, is reaching all the way down, and there's the dwarf trying to get up there. I don't know, maybe, I guess not. You need to have the eye of faith to see that. But ways you can deal with toxins. Obviously, the first part is avoid it in the first place. Obviously, smoking is a toxin with nicotine. If you can't avoid it, I mean, most people have developed this lifetime habit of that. A quick tip for that would be, you need to realize that every cigarette you smoke removes 25 milligrams of vitamin C from your system. Why is that important? Vitamin C is one of the key nutrients that help to provide collagen. Collagen is what helps to strengthen your skin, your mucosa. And when collagen is removed from when collagen is compromised or the production of collagen is compromised, that can result in things like cancer, lung cancer. What you need to do, if you can't stop it, if you absolutely cannot stop smoking, then you need to up your vitamin C intake, absolutely. So basically, avoidance takes part of what avoidance involves is that you just have to be aware of the things that are harmful to your health and avoid them as much as you possibly can. Again, your body also has the subconscious flight or fight mechanisms that help you avoid stuff, danger, and help you run away from it and all those things. Well, we're not going to talk about that too much. Our main focus, of course, will be our body's innate defensive mechanisms, and there are 3 levels of those, and we're going to go into that. And of course, if these 3 fail, then the toxins or the problems or those toxins, like I said, are already inside your system, and your body has a way of neutralizing or sequestering them. In other words, tucking them away somewhere where they will not cause harm to the body. And it also has the ability to remove and excrete those toxins. And when everything is said and done, the body is able to restore and repair itself. We need to be able to support all 5 of these mechanisms, and we need to know how. Okay, here we have this is a very elementary diagram, but I hope you can appreciate it. Again, we have 3 main levels of defense. Let's assume that this is the outermost part of the body, and this is outside of the body, like it says over there. And so you have the toxins all trying to get in. And we show the 3 main levels. And why don't we just go into that? Number 1, your physical barriers. The ones where, obviously, we're talking about the skin, the bone, and the mucosal linings. From the top of your head to the tip of your toes, your body has been designed to protect itself. And that, of course, includes everything from what you put in your mouth, from the mouth organ all the way down to the other end. The mouth has saliva. It has all these enzymes that destroy bacteria. And, of course, down the tract to the different enzymes, hydrochloric acid in the stomach to destroy bacteria. Your body also has the reflexes, like the eye reflex, that the eyes blink as soon as they see an intruder, something trying to get in. You sneeze. You have the gag reflex. I mean, all those things are built and designed to help protect you. The skin itself has enzymes that actually destroy bacteria, and we have a lot of bacteria that actually live on our skin and also in the gastrointestinal tract. They are not all bad. As a matter of fact, many of the bacteria that we have are good for us, and they're helpful. Mucosal linings, of course, that of course refers to the lining of everything from your gastrointestinal tract, your sinuses, your nerves, your muscles. Anywhere you have a tube, so to speak, has a mucosal lining. Of course, that involves also the circulatory system. These have to be well protected. They have to be smooth. They have to be, because they act as a shield to prevent bacteria and toxins from entering in. Again, this is the first line of defense. And here we have a picture of a skeleton, and we had to add that because your skeleton, again, is a protective layer. I mean, you need the protection of the rib cage and the skull and the pelvis to protect your vital organs. And there's the skull, and from looking at this skull, you kind of get the impression that he's saying, dude, this webinar is getting boring. Can you make this thing more interesting? Well, whatever, we'll try. Okay. And there's the rib cage protecting the heart. And, of course, here's your skin. The hair follicles and everything is designed to protect it. Why are we going through all these things? Because each of these, the skull, your skeletal system, your skin, your mucosal tract, they all need vital nutrients to help to maintain their integrity. And we're going to mention that as we go on. Of course, your skin not only keeps toxins and viruses out, it also acts as, it also maintains your temperature, helps to maintain your temperature at that level of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. If it goes above that, that could spell trouble. If it goes below that, that could spell trouble if it is not well controlled. All right, back to the 3 main systems. Okay, we've dealt with the first part. The second part is really the inflammatory response. And we have a webinar there too out there on which goes into a lot of detail about how the inflammation works. Basically, inflammation is when you have an attack, when there's an injury, as you see right up there, insult/injury. Inflammation agents come into play, and they include cytokines and the carcinoids, and there's inflammation. Basically, what happens is that if there's a break, and let's say in the mucosa or in the skin, there's a cut, the integrity, there's a breach, is compromised. There's a lot of, first of all, the vessels leak out a lot of white blood cells. Sometimes the vessels actually constrict to prevent excessive leakage, and sometimes they dilate to allow for a lot of flow of white blood cells to go to that area and suppress the virus or bacteria to seal it off and prevent further infiltration. And hopefully, if everything goes well, the inflammation suppresses the problem and there's repair and recovery. Well, we know that it's not always so, and when there is not suppression, chronic inflammation may ensue, and that could lead to heart disease, cancer, and things like that. But again, we did mention this in another webinar. So inflammation is the second part, and that inflammation takes place when there's a breach to the first line of defense, the physical barrier. If inflammation does not take care of the situation, then we have to resort to the third line of defense, which is the specific immune system. The second line of defense is non-specific. Inflammation happens the same way every single time. If there's danger, if there's a breach, if there's a cut, it is the same response every single time. And that it could not just a cut, but it could also involve excessive heat or excessive cold, and the immune system, or radiation. All those things trigger the inflammatory response. But the immune system is so organized and so structured that it will deal with specific problems. Remember, there are only two systems in your body that can remember. The first is the nervous system, and the second is the immune system. They have a memory, and they can respond to further problems based on the experience that they have had in the past. So the immune system is what I'm trying to say is that the immune system is highly specialized, it's specific, and it deals with problems based on the type. And there are different cells in the immune system that deal with the problem. And again, we have the immune system is your battle, is your soldier, the working soldier. And again, we have these pictures. There's a macrophage up there, which is the most important cell in the immune system. The webinar is out there on the battle within, and here we have the different cells all acting together. All right, so what can you do? And we've just basically done an overview. There's a lot more detail involved there. But what can you do? Again, like we said, the important thing is to protect or enhance your body's ability to do what it was meant to do. And in some cases, your body may actually be overrun by infection or viruses or by radiation. So what do you do in such instances? For instance, we know that if you're a worker in a chemical plant, for instance, well, you are at grave danger of having high levels of those chemicals in your system, and that could lead to adverse effects. Well, your body, like Dr. Nugent said, your body is not equipped to deal with such burdens, and so it is very important that we know what those things, what you need to do in addition to whatever else you're doing to help to heal, to protect yourself. There's one of our key statements: your body wants to be well, and it will do everything within its power to attain that end. We need to focus on strength, day in, day out. Let's start with the general principles. The fourth main basis, a focused, happy, productive mind. We find out that the happier you are, the more engaged in your family, the more engaged you are with your work, the more you enjoy your work. That on its own provides a strong defense. It strengthens every area of every part of your body, including your immune system, including your body cells, including your mucosa, even including your bones. It helps you probably more than anything else. In some of our webinars, we talk about how depression, chronic depression itself, can cause osteoporosis. You don't want to be indulging in such defeatist and such terrible emotions for too long. You do not. Number two, a regular diet of wholesome foods. Fruits and vegetables are still one of your first lines of defense against any kind of disease. And yes, they are depleted, they are lacking in nutrients, but you do not want to just avoid them completely because they are so. You need to look out for, you need to constantly have a very regular diet of fruits and vegetables. Of course, nutritional supplementation. I'm going to mention some nutritional supplements that will help defend you against chemicals, help defend you against heavy metals and other things. Okay, let's just go on to the next one. The key again is that proper nutrition helps the body itself heal. And here's one of our favorite quotes, people who give really great quotes. About 8 nutritional categories that we like to talk about. Actually, there are just 8. Some of them actually we divided, we tried to separate them, like antioxidants, for instance. Many of the other nutrients actually act as antioxidants, but we wanted to create a category on its own because of the importance of this specific group. Let's start from the top. Essential vitamins and minerals. Now, when we're talking about vitamins and minerals for protection, we think about vitamin C. We mentioned that your mucosa has to be protected. The mucosa, the lines, the respiratory system, that lines the gastrointestinal system, is everything out there is made of collagen. Collagen is the most abundant glycoprotein in the body. Remember, we've talked about glycoproteins. Vitamin C is what helps to strengthen collagen. Without vitamin C, collagen falls apart. It is not strong. It is weak. It falls apart, and you begin to bleed. And that's a condition called scurvy. When it comes to minerals, you want to remember that calcium, of course, is extremely important. As a matter of fact, bone is made up of 2 main things: calcium phosphate and collagen. The calcium phosphate gives the bone its strength and rigidity. Collagen gives it it's what holds it together. Without collagen, bone will be brittle. Without calcium phosphate, bone will not be strong and rigid. And so you need the 2 of them, and therefore, especially when it comes to ladies too, when you get to your the menopausal seasons, you really need to have enough calcium supplements. But not only that, vitamin D is very important and magnesium is very important. They actually have a balance, a ratio that you should have together. In addition, the endocrine system is what help you maintain this ratio. So it's not just about supplementing with calcium. You need the entire nutritional package to prevent osteoporosis. Essential amino acids, of course, amino acids or proteins act as the structure of the body. And of course, collagen is a protein. And all these different, they are like the infrastructure, the scaffolding of the human body, and that's what they do. A lot of immunoglobulins, a lot of the immune cells and the antibodies are actually made of proteins, so very, very important. Fatty acids, of course. One thing fatty acids are needed for especially is inflammation. Omega-3s are very, very important to aid the inflammatory process. Omega-3s actually they are anti-inflammatories. Omega-6s are pro-inflammatories. Our problem with our diet today is that we have much more of the pro-inflammatory agents, and which tips us over into inflammation. We don't want that. We want to have a balance, and especially in this culture, we have much more of inflammation in our bodies, and inflammation ultimately results in cardiac disease, in brain problems. In fact, they've attributed inflammation to even Alzheimer's disease and even to Parkinson's disease. So inflammation controlled is what we're after, and fatty acids help to do that. Antioxidants, absolutely. And I have a quote further on saying that 73% of all premature deaths and diseases are due to a lack of these antioxidants. Many hormones actually act as antioxidants, and the 2 probably the most powerful antioxidants in the body that are hormones are melatonin. Remember what we said about melatonin being produced at night when it's dark. It acts as a powerful antioxidant, and it helps your body to repair itself, especially during the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Those are the key times that your body heals and repairs itself. The other hormone is estradiol, which is a kind of estrogen, which everybody produces, male and as well as females. And estradiol, and they have found out, is extremely important to protect your brain cells. It acts as a very powerful antioxidant for the brain cells. And so, extremely important. Fiber, again, what we know is that people who have diets rich in fiber, the Bantu tribe in South Africa has been studied extensively, and they have a diet of about 100 grams a day of fiber. In this country, this culture, we have less than maybe 20 grams a day of fiber, and the results speak for themselves. In that Bantu tribe, things like colorectal cancer, things like appendicitis, things like varicose veins are almost unheard of. And they've been able to relate that to their high fiber content of their food. Glyconutrients, absolutely. One of the most important, in my estimation, for the basic functioning of the cells of the body. I like Dr. Gowen's quote. He says that when you have enough glyconutrients in your body is therefore enabled. He really emphasizes that word, enabled, to do what it probably had not been able to do to deal with before. And let me give you this perfect example. I mean, your body, right? Your body is always fighting disease. It's always fighting germs. Like it's always struggling to survive. And sometimes it just has to prioritize. It can't deal with everything at the same time. That's why some people could have a cancer that has been lurking there for 10, 15, 20 years. And basically the body has tried to curtail that. But there are other problems it has to deal with. And so it's basically frantically trying to put out all those fires. Now, when you have enough glyconutrients as well as other good nutritional supplements, your body is not able to intelligently deal with all those problems like it should. Phytochemicals primarily act as anti-inflammatory agents and also as antioxidants. Very, very important. And a lot of these new companies that are coming out now are dealing a lot with phytochemicals. The juices that are coming out, some have some tremendous science behind them. Others obviously do not. But some really can work in some cases. Phytosterols, of course, the hormones, you absolutely need the hormones, plant hormones, estradiol and melatonin that we mentioned, act as powerful agents for protection. All right, let's talk about the specific things that we need. We've spoken about the biological. Now, okay, quickly need to mention this. We did have a webinar on your best defense against bugs and bacteria. The government, the military government, and you need to use this, especially if you're dealing with severe infections and all that. Someone actually wrote to us before the webinar about her husband developing a terrible digestive tract infection. Like we said before, we need help to, especially in crucial acute conditions like this. Sometimes your body just cannot deal with it alone, so you need to not only strengthen the cells, but you need some added help from the outside. And your best defense against superbugs and bacteria and viruses, it's by a prominent virologist by the name of Dr. Gordon Pedersen. The MP3s are out there, and the PowerPoint slides are out there. Tremendous research on the emergence of silver as a powerful tool. Now, I'm not talking about colloidal silver. I'm talking about another kind that they found out, and this just came out recently, and that they found out it has a very powerful effect against even some of the superbugs that everybody's scared of, like staph infections. We now know that over a million infections, hospital-acquired infections, happen every year in this country, and over 100,000 people die from these hospital-acquired infections, most of which are due to staph infections. Now, we found out that this particular kind of agent, the silver agent, actually has been proven even by the government, tests, to be able to have some powerful effect against staph, and also when used in combination with the standard medication. So it actually helps to enhance standard medical administration of drugs. So if that's an issue you're dealing with, please get that MP3. We've made these MP3s as cheap as possible. I don't know, as cheap as possible for the kind of information that is being shared there, because we want everybody to have access to them. Chemicals, PCBs, dioxins, antioxidants will obviously play a very, very key role here. And I think there's somebody I think we need to get on the webinar and talk about these. But heavy metals, there's another company that has come out with a chemical called zeolites, Z-E-O-L-I-T-E-S. Mercury, lead. Some people are heavily laden with lead, especially probably because of where they live or where they work, and they have high toxic levels of lead in their system, or the old paints that used to have lead. These zeolites, they are finding out, are very, very effective in removing heavy metals from the system. I'm trying to get someone to come talk about that on our webinar too. And of course, radiation. Sherry, you met David Leggett last week when you were here, and he's going to come in on very soon to talk about radiation. The technology by which you can actually block off the harmful radiation coming from cell phones, from computers, even from your microwaves, and without compromising the workings, without compromising the function of the equipment you're using. Now, really in some countries they actually banned pregnant mothers from using cell phones, or even from not just pregnant mothers, but women with small kids. They're finding out that the radiation from those cell phones can actually subvert the brain functions of those children. So this is not a hoax, folks. This is real. I mean, companies are trying to minimize these things, but hey, you've got your body, and you have to protect your body. Okay, rogue cells, of course, the immune system deals with that. This is from our class on antioxidants. 73% of all premature death is due to oxidative stress. This is one of the leading authorities on the use of antioxidants. So we have some pictures there. The webinar on inflammation, very, very important too. You need to get that. Neutralization, detoxification. If these things don't work like they should, I mean, if the toxins escape those three natural defenses, well, all hope is not lost, because your body has the ability to also detoxify these chemicals, detoxify these heavy metals. And the organ most involved in that is actually the second largest organ in the body after the skin, which is called the liver. The liver is actually the largest single organ in the body. And the liver is heavily involved in these detoxification processes. It has to deal with drugs, it deals with toxins, it deals with heavy metals, and unfortunately most of our livers in this country are heavy laden, are heavily burdened due to the toxins that we take in. And the top 4 liver toxins they found out are chemicals, including caffeine. Let me move on. Pollutants, pesticides and medications, sex hormones, drugs, heavy metals. Drugs that may cause liver damage. I was being political about this, but the book I read says drugs that definitely cause liver damage. And there's a list of these right here. Does that mean you need to stop taking these drugs if you're on them? No, absolutely not. I mean, you got to do what your doctor has asked you to do. However, what we're trying to say is that you need to also be aware of these things, and therefore get the nutritional supplements that will help to protect the liver from suffering further damage. And these are the top 5 nutritional nutrients that the researchers have encouraged people to get, especially for their liver. vitamin B12, vitamin E, vitamin C. These two are antioxidants. Milk thistle extract and S-adenosyl methionine is actually it's a product of the metabolism of methionine, which is an amino acid. But they found out that this also helps, especially in alcoholics who have badly damaged livers. They found this is effective. Now you have to be aware this is not regulated by the FDA, and so there are lots of products out there that presumably say they're going to do what they help deliver, but they do not. So you have to find out what is a good product to use. Sequestration again is one of really is the last recourse that your body has. If the liver fails to take care of it, to detoxify it, it has to be tucked in somewhere where it will not cause that much harm. And where is that? The fat cells. Fat is your, let's say, your storage place for toxins, be they chemicals or heavy metals. We mentioned in our class on healthy body weight and fat loss that your fat cell can swell to about 1,000 times its size. And the body knows that. And so when you have a burden, when you have so much toxin in your body, the body tries to tuck them away in the fat cells and hopefully keep have the fat surround it so that it is insulated, or your body is insulated from its harmful effects. That is why when people begin to lose weight, especially if you are heavily overweight and you begin to lose weight, sometimes you may feel very, very sick, because the toxins that were hidden away in your fat cells are suddenly being released now that you're losing weight. And those toxins get into your system and they affect your brain and your kidneys and your nervous system. And so it is not a good thing. That's why it's strongly recommended that people take a lot of water when they're going through these when they're losing weight or detoxifying. They take a lot of water and take even better nutrients like vitamin B12 and lots of antioxidants too, so that this process would not be as traumatic as it is for most people. When everything is said and done, your body has to repair itself. And the nutrients, all 8 nutrients, are very, very important for doing that. Again, your priority has to be with the 3 main systems, the nervous system, the endocrine system, and with the immune system. I mentioned a website that would really encourage you to all look at. It's called bodyburden.org. I hope I got that right. Is that I have this, okay, org, that's what it is. And they go into a list of all the toxins that are out there and say what they can do to your body and do the different parts, the different systems of the body. Again, knowledge, information are your allies. The more you know, the better you'll be able to protect yourself and your family. Again, I encourage you to go to our website, pick up that the 12 food additives download. That is there for free, and Dr. Nugent's book is very revealing. Sometimes some people call it alarming, and that this is it's close to being spectacular journalism. But hey, there's a lot of truth to what he's talking about. So, and this is available on GlycoTools or on Amazon.com. Where, like as I was preparing for this, I mentioned at the beginning that we need to have a webinar on the gastrointestinal system. Remember that 70, and in some cases, some people believe it's 80% of your immune system resides in the gut. So it is very, very important for us to understand how to protect your gut and how to keep your gut strong and healthy. And so that's probably going to be the next webinar I'm going to do personally. But again, next week is Dr. J.C. Spencer of the Endowment Med. And that brings us to the end of this webinar. And it's been a rather short one, but any questions?
One person was wondering if you want to tell us the name of that device that negates the harmful effects of cell phones and other Wi-Fi things.
I actually have one on my phone right now. It's called I've forgotten what the company is called. It's yeah. Tell you what, if you could send us an email, I really don't remember what the company's name is. I really don't know. I don't even know what the product is. I'm not trying to be elusive, but that's just true. I just don't know right now. So if you send me an email, I can get you in touch with the with the company, and then they can help take care of your questions.
Okay. You must have covered it well. We have that was really the only question that was posted. If somebody has a question, you can go ahead and type it in. We'll wait just a minute to see if we have a couple more questions come in. Actually, there was a couple people asked that same question about the device.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's big time. I think it's. Here's the thing. I mean, why I'm particularly interested in it is because, like I mentioned a couple of webinars ago, I ruptured my eardrum from a racquetball injury. Somebody hit me, the direct hit on my left ear, and that created a force that was transmitted to my eardrum and just ruptured my eardrum. And so since then I've been very, very sensitive in my left ear. And so if cell phones naturally gave me a headache because of the radiation that was coming out of it. And so eventually found out about this patch. It's like a small, narrow patch you can apply to the phone, and it basically took care of it. So every time I buy a new phone, I put that patch on it, and it takes care of it. If I use somebody else's phone, the pain and it just comes back. And so that's why I know this works. It absolutely does.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody else was asking a question about the silver that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
He said, what was the silver that you mentioned? What was that called?
It's a company called, I'm trying to remember what it was, AmericanBiotechLabs.com. We had their chief doctor and virologist come speak to us. I'm not trying to say go buy it, but I wouldn't be able to do a good job about it. The handouts are there, and the MP3s are there, and he explains everything and how it works like that.
Great.
The website.
Great. As far as that patch, it's called Cellular Safe. I just did a quick Google search for it and came up with a site that has them, so you might want to do that as well. It's called Cellular Safe.
That's what the company is called, Cellular Safe?
Well, I did a search for Cellular Safe and found a company that was selling them.
What's company called?
Energy for Health.
Oh yeah. I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys can do that too. Just do a search for it's CELLULAR. I'll tell you what. I will type into the question box to everybody the name of the patch, and then you can do a Google search for that and find the Energy site.
Great.
Okay, let's see. It looks like you've answered everything.
Okay, excellent. Well, folks, you have a great evening and a great weekend, and God bless.
Good night.
Good night.